Hi guys, and welcome to episode 5 of Brocanting Spots and Confit Pots by Honeysuckle and Roses and with James and Lizzie. Episode 5, James.
Wow.
I know, this is good. This is good. I think we're in the swing of things.
Yeah, it's almost like we kind of getting to the point where it sounds like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, I think I might be pushing it a little bit, but you know.
Might be a little bit much, but
we hope you guys are enjoying this. This is good fun for us. It's something so new, and it's taking a bit of learning, but we're loving it.
I think the fact that we're seeing so many people watching it, shows that they're enjoying it.
It's so good,
and people just supporting us by buying us a coffee, which is great. We'll leave that link below. We're looking to do series 2 very soon.
Exciting. That'll be great.
That'll be great.
We need to get content.
We need to get those special guests confirmed.
I know.
So the beer is on ice. Anybody need champagne? I don't know what kind of guests we're looking at.
If you could think of bribes, we'll consider them.
We have Haribo's, Percy Pigs, other confectionery.
Yeah, we can make all of that available if you'd like to come on our podcast.
But yeah, do leave us some comments.
Nice comments, please.
Absolutely. Or hit us up on Instagram if you're interested in being involved in the next series.
Great.
So today we're going to talk about how do you sell your French treasures. Now, we're going to make some assumptions at this point.
Yeah.
Number one assumption is that you have been on your holiday and you've bought some stuff and you want to sell it.
So you've paid your taxes. Let's get that one out of the way.
That's the second assumption that we're making, because we're assuming that you are good law-abiding citizens. Because if you're not, then that's your conscience at the end of the day. We're not going to give you a hard time about that.
But it is important that you do things right. But yeah, we're assuming that you've paid your taxes and you've now decided that you want to try and sell them.
Where would people start?
So really, you need to think about where you want to sell. So do you want to sell online? And that is really where we started. Yeah. I know we were obviously in the Emporium, but that was before we were doing the French thing, and we sold at fairs. But the website at the beginning was our main deal, wasn't it?
And when I was working full time, it was good because it was a side hustle. It was before Brexit. There wasn't the tax. There wasn't the paperwork implications. To say it was easy, it was easier than it is now.
Yeah.
But it was straightforward. That's a better way of putting it. It was a case of we went across, we pay X, we sell it for Y.
Yeah.
The profit is Z. Is your business, and that's the side hustle that goes alongside.
Yeah.
It
worked really well, and that's it's a really good side hustle. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of work. If you or your partner have a proper job, a 9-to-5 job.
Is this not a proper job?
It is a proper job. But if you to have this working alongside it is hard work. But there is a lot of good things about having your own business. So I would recommend starting on website. And as I mentioned, I think in an earlier episode, we started really basic, and we had Big Cartel up and running for a little while.
And I really liked Big Cartel.
Yeah.
And I still really like Big Cartel. If it were up to me, we'd go back to Big Cartel.
Yeah.
Because it does what it says on the tin.
It was really straightforward, easy to use, simple. People clicked on the link from Instagram, followed it through to Big Cartel, and there you were at the website.
It wasn't a bells and whistles, but it did product, pricing, etc., etc.
And you can design it how you want it. You can make it look pretty. You can do what you need to do to it. But it's a good way to get things up and running.
You said about putting stuff on Instagram and it being pulled through. What do you mean by that? For those who might not know.
So obviously at the top in the bio, you can include a website link, which if people click on, it will take you straight through to the website of your choice. It's a good way. I when we were back from our trip and we were starting moving things along, I would often rave about products that we'd found on Instagram. I would take photos, lots of photos, and I'm renowned for that, probably too many photos. And I'd put them up on Instagram and people would ask questions. And then I'd do what I still call website updates. And all my new finds would go online and I would just push it on Instagram and say, you know, I'm updating the website this evening at 8:00. Go over to find all my new finds from our latest trip. And like they'd all be live at 8, and then it would be like
you'd hear all the PayPal. Ping, 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 ping.
Yeah,
ping,
do you
ping,
remember?
ping,
I was sitting with my dad one evening for dinner.
We were having dinner, yeah.
And we'd scheduled this update, and he just could not believe it. It was like, bing,
he's like,
bing,
what's all that
bing,
noise?
Bing. And I'm like, it's our website, Dad. And he was really impressed. So
it takes a lot for your dad to be impressed with what we do.
But the website was great for us. It was our main source of income. And James would often sort of tell me what the figures were, and I was like, oh, it's good. We're doing good. So the website. Obviously, look at your local fairs. We have some smaller fairs in the area. It's worth getting in contact with local fairs, but maybe look further afield. I mean, we've mentioned the Dorset Brocant. That's a really good one to get involved with. Sally's lovely. It's a beautiful fair. It really is worth looking at fairs that are further afield, that might take a little bit longer, but it really helps to build up your following as well.
Yeah.
So if you go to these fairs, make sure you have business cards on your stand, so that people can pick one up, pop it in their bag and look at it later. Because the amount of times we've done fairs and then we've got a whole load of new followers from business cards. Yeah. So they're really important. So just do your research on fairs. Follow on Instagram, follow fairs, find out what sort of other people who sells at those fairs, what they sell, how they style their stands. Good inspiration is looking at
It's
others.
interesting you talk about styling, because I tried to help on the website recently. I'm not quite sure why she's laughing. I think she knows what I'm about to say. Liz had a migraine a couple of weeks ago, and I said, it's all right, don't worry, I'll take some pictures and you can upload them. And I put things there. I got my iPhone out, took some pictures, and I thought I'd done a really good job.
Yeah.
Well, how did you interpret that?
So, James, it was point and click. And whilst there is a place for point and click, if you want your pictures to look good, you need to think about composition. You need to think about styling your pieces. Just putting something on a table and taking a picture of it, it doesn't cut the mustard. You need to think about, maybe have it in your home somewhere, and style it with other things around. A nice light area is always really good. Lighting is important. If you've got a grainy image, it doesn't look good. People don't know what they're getting. Just in terms of that, getting a right colour. If you put filters on stuff, it can change a colour.
Yeah.
Now, we know when we've been at fairs in France and we've rocked up at 6 a.m. and bought what we thought is a white door or a white shutter. And then when we've gone to pick it up at
10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock when the sun's come up and it's light and it turns out that it's canary yellow, we've been quite disappointed. So, and as a customer, as one of your customers, you don't want them to get something through the post, it look one way online, and then when they've received it, it's something quite different. So you need to try and bear that in mind when you're looking.
Well, let's just talk about that, because obviously we've sold a lot online.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that situation? Because obviously there's going to be times when that's going to happen.
Yeah. So when someone receives something and they're
not happy with it.
Yeah. So I've got to be honest, haven't had a lot of that. I remember there was someone who bought a little cup when we were out in France. It was a little mug, and I had put
all the dimensions.
That it was miniature. I'd put all the dimensions, and she'd received it, and she was quite upset because she said, what am I meant to do with that? It's tiny. But she hadn't. And then she looked back at our conversation, and I'd said miniature and obviously the measurements, and she was like, I'm really sorry. I obviously didn't read the description. And obviously our main thing is that we want people to be happy. So we always say, pop it back to us, and, we'll happily give you your money back. But we've been quite lucky online that we've not had a lot of that at all.
I think
and there's always, bear in mind, we are also sending breakables. So sometimes we wrap things up to an inch of their life. So we will wrap things like in plenty of bubble wrap and paper and make sure that it is safe in a box. But we're not in control of what happens when it leaves our hands. And there have been times where we've had a message saying, I'm so disappointed, this is smashed.
Do you mean that certain courier companies play football with boxes?
Yes, we've had, actually, I remember a customer saying, I watched him throw the box down the path to my door, and of course it was smashed. It was a Soupier, a beautiful blue and white Soupier, and it was smashed. And I would say you're just going to have to expect that there are going to be breakages, but it's how you deal with those breakages. So you just have to be like, so sorry this has happened. I'll sort out a refund for you straight away. Take some pictures, send them off. Very often with places like Royal Mail, you're just not going to get anywhere. They have a load of things that you're not allowed to send, and it is there are terms with any comeback, and it's usually breakable.
There are terms and conditions. I remember we sent something with DHL, and it was this parcel that was thrown at the door.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to someone at DHL about it, and I went into our local depot as well. And I said, look, you've got a load of exclusions, but nowhere in your terms and conditions does it say that your parcel man is going to throw it from the end of the end of the path at the door.
It's very difficult, but I would just say all you can do from your end is just make sure you've done your best to make sure that whatever happens, that parcel has a good chance of arriving in one piece.
And another tip is maybe take pictures just before you close the box of how it's been packed.
Yeah.
Because there are also, unfortunately, there are people that will try it on.
Yeah.
Out there. And, we've got a really good network of dealers. Our customers are great, but also there's a good network of dealers. And the dealers talk amongst themselves and share people who are trying it on with one another.
Yeah.
So, those people don't get away with it.
Yeah, that has happened before online, where there's been some people who have really taken the mick a little bit on things, buying things, and then claiming it's broken.
It's broken and wanting to keep it.
Yeah, we've not had that, but we've heard of that happening. So there's a lot to consider. You need to bear in mind postage and packaging. All of that, of course, eats into your profit. We include that in our price. We come up with one figure on the website. We never add a surprise at the end. We always feel that puts people off. So,
and that was one of the things that we come up with. We were looking at analytics as we were going through. Well, I say I was looking at analytics as we were going through and seeing people going through checkout. And we noticed there was a big drop off. And that was before we did it that way. Now, there are arguments that say do it both ways.
I know lots of people do it the other way too, but we always found that we lost people at checkout, whereas now the price is the price. You get the price with the product, and the postage is included in that. And then
unless we're shipping it internationally,
we prefer doing it. Yeah, we prefer doing it that way.
So another website that's worth looking at for finding places to sell as well as to buy is Antiques Atlas. That's only for the UK though. That's a really good site. You can do that. There's a calendar on there. You can click on there, and if you're looking to sell, it'll just tell you what's happening on each day of the month. And that's very useful, I would say. I think that when we started out, we made lots and lots of mistakes.
Yeah.
So stuff that we're giving you here and we're trying to help you with, we hope is helpful. Also, finally on this topic, where to sell Emporiums. And again, I think in across the world, there'll be similar things to Emporiums, whether they're antique
I
malls.
see them in the States on social media. Really lovely places where you get a group of like-minded people selling antiques, vintage wear, good, lovely stuff for the home, all sorts of delights. And we have the same in the UK.
And that's where we first started out. Number 38 in Newport Pagnell, run by our friends Pip and Mick. We'll leave a link below for those watching on YouTube. Lovely guys. And that reminds me of a time, so we started out selling, we were upstairs there. It was one of those, I felt like one of the Chuckle Brothers sometimes, going backwards and forwards, up and down the stairs.
Yeah, restocking, moving.
Carrying furniture.
Yeah.
I think that Emporiums are great.
It's another way to get your name out there as well. And Pip and Mick are great. They had like sweets, didn't they? And
sweets.
They're known. Pip and Mick, if you follow them on social media, you'll know that they are known for when they go sourcing, they have sweets on their dashboard.
Wine gums, dolly mixtures, jelly babies.
Yeah.
We don't ever have any sweets on our dashboard when we go sourcing, do we?
Yeah, no. But so there are ways of selling. There are different ways, whether it's online or in fairs. Yeah, just have a look, and also just watch out for what other people are doing too.
I think that one of the things that we haven't touched on in this episode again is Brexit.
Yeah.
And it is something to take into consideration when we're selling.
Yeah.
We did talk at the beginning about taxes.
I'm really reluctant to enter too much into Brexit because I reckon...
But one of the really good things, and you'll notice there's a stack of books sitting on the table, which Liz is going to talk about.
This is what he's linking it to. I get it now. Okay.
We love buying antique books.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember when we bought these, we were
coming out there.
I think we were driving... down quite far south near St Etienne, which is probably a couple of hours from the south of France. And we'd gone to see someone and we picked them up there, a dealer friend of ours. And as Liz came out of the lights, we got to this junction. Do you remember this junction, darling?
This isn't the tram story, is it?
Possibly, it could be. You told the story about...
Do you know, sometimes driving on the French roads isn't easy. And there are junctions where I don't know where to go. And when you're front of the queue, you have to make a decision.
But it is quite scary when you turn, and as we go round the corner, I look, and there is a tram coming straight at us, right? That is kind of scary.
That was one. There aren't many like that, but that was one scary incident. But sometimes the road layouts are just not clear. Like when you're from another country, it is like frightening. I think it was quite dark, wasn't it?
It was pitch black, and the problem was if you are front of the queue, if there's someone in front of you, you then just follow them. You go, right, okay, they're French, we just follow them. But anyway, go back to the book. Sorry, I went on an aside.
So these are books that we love to find. Now these are really old books, and very often you'll find the date of them in the opening pages. Because a lot of the books that we pick up are over 100 years old, you don't need to pay taxes on them. So I just love these. You have the sort of the faded writing on the side. They're obviously very battered because they're old. I'd be that battered if I was that old too. And you can see the pages are just beautifully ruffled. I love that. That is what I look for in books. These are a pretty faded pink. Again, anything pink for me seems to be really popular to sell. And these are just a really special collection of books. And we enjoy picking up books. James used to work in publishing, so he loves finding books. And we'll very often come back with a few boxes of them. They're great to have. They look so good on a shelf. If you style them out, James just doesn't quite understand this, do you? You don't. But I love...
We've been doing this for 8 years, and, I kind of get... I get it.
You get it.
I know what you like.
Yeah.
There's still part
you
of me
try
that
and
I kind of go...
it.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
But, I understand what you do.
When you have on a stand at the fair when you have a cupboard and it's just full of a beautiful collection of books. It's lovely. It's really lovely. So we will often look out for them. I always feel like the ruffled ones are not as easy to find. We find quite a lot of the paperback ones, the older paperback ones, but the ones with ruffled pages are what I really do love to find.
Anything that's dated with Roman numerals will generally be from the late 19th century.
Yeah.
But we did find some recently, some really tiny ones, which were dated 1785, I think it was.
Yeah.
And, just absolutely stunning. And as Liz says, my background is in publishing, so I love a book.
Yeah. You're a bookworm. See, it's a bit of a family joke, really, in my family, because I'm not a reader at all. I will open a book if it has pictures in it, and
sometimes you have crayons.
My brothers laugh at me because they're it's all about the pictures. But I buy books, but not to read them. I buy books because they look beautiful. So it's a long-standing joke. When I was at school and it was like, "What's your hobby?" I put reading. Well, that's really not the case. Again, my family would be like, "Reading? No."
I think that's unfair because you do read.
I like looking at pictures in magazines.
You read the best before date on the pint of milk. I think that's really. That's unfair.
I'm just not one of those person who will curl up on the sofa with a book and read. It's just not what I like to do.
And you know what? That's fine. Yeah. But there are lots of people who do that.
Yeah.
But these are most definitely decorative items.
Yeah.
And I think with these, we'll have a selection of books that we're going to be putting on the website.
Yeah.
But with something like this, when you love something as much as you do, right, it's so satisfying to see someone love it as much as you do.
Yeah.
You get great joy from that.
I get really excited when I find things that are just special. I get really excited if especially in the most unexpected of places. There's been times where we've been in French charity shops and we found a beautiful soupière that's all mottled and discoloured, and I'm like, it's covered in mud, you wouldn't know what colour it is, and then we'd get it home, wash it, and it's just perfection. Those are the best things. I get so excited about stuff like that. It's so good. Just good. It's just good fun.
It's good fun. You enjoy it. I think we're going to pull stumps here.
Oh, here we go. Another cricket.
For those who don't watch from the UK, from outside of the UK, sorry. I'm not talking about cricket. I don't even know what country I'm in. We're not talking about cricket. We're talking about ending the podcast.
Yeah.
Again, we just want to say thank you so much for everybody who's watched. Thank you so much for everybody who's subscribed. If you are happy to, please subscribe. That really helps out the channel. If you are happy to hit the buyacoffee.com/honeysuckle and roses link, that also really helps us out. We could get a second series going.
That would be good.
Because this is like the penultimate.
Yeah.
So we're gonna the next one is the last one.
It would be so good to get a second series, but we'll see. We'll see.
I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Watch this space. But thanks, guys. We really appreciate it. Take care.